Hey everybody, it's Ms Beth. I am so excited to be making this video to share with you guys today. I'm actually really bummed that we can't be there in person this year. It really makes me sad, but it's for the best, and we know that. But it still kind of stinks. But anyway, it is kind of exciting that we can still have our VBS through social media. So that's really awesome that we have the technology to do that. So let's go ahead and get started. So today is day 2, and we're talking this whole week about how we are God's treasure. And yesterday, on day 1, we saw a video about how our good shepherd treasures us by caring for us, right? And I hope you watched that. And if you haven't, go back and watch that too, okay? Because it's awesome. And so today, day 2, we're going to talk even more about that. We're going to talk about how we are treasured by Jesus. And before we get started on the stories, we are going to go over our memory verse for today. So yesterday we started our memory verse, and today we're going to do the same verse and add a little bit more. So in your packet, in your folder, I want you to find day 2. And where it says the memory verse, I want you to look at it and read it out loud along with me while I read it. Okay, so this comes from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. You ready? Let's read this together. But God chose you to be his people. You are royal priests. You are a holy nation. You are God's special treasure. 1 Peter 2:9. Right? What a great verse that is. And it fits in so well with what we're talking about this week. So before we get started on the story, I just want to show something. I brought something. I'm in my house back in Tennessee. I brought something here to show you. This right here, I don't know if you can, is my old blankie from when I was a little girl. And there's a window behind me. So you can see how threadbare this is in the middle. You can see like straight through to the window. There's like no stuffing right here, right? Look at that. You can see my hand. But this is my favorite blanket when I was little. And it's so special that I still have it. I am going to be 35 in August. Can you believe that? And I still have my special blanket from when I was little. My aunt made this for me, and I could not sleep without it. I don't sleep with it still, but I have given it to my children to use and enjoy. And it's not as special for them, but it is still so special to me that I haven't been able to get rid of it. I have to keep it because I love it so much. When I was little, my mom tells stories about how if I did not have and I called it my rainbow rocking horse blanket because I was not very creative. My rainbow rocking horse blanket, I could not go to bed at night. I just couldn't do it. I would cry and we'd have to search through the whole house till I found it, and then I could calm down and go to sleep. So let me ask you, do you have a special thing? I think we all kind of have a special thing, whether it's something from when we were little or if we have something special now. I think our special things change as we get older, but we all have things that are really special to us, right? God has things that are special to him too. We're going to talk about that today. And before we get started on the story, I'm just going to tell you, these are 2 things that are called parables in the Bible. And if you hear that word, parable, that just means that God is telling a story to teach us about him. So Jesus would use stories to help people understand what he was trying to say. Sometimes things can be kind of tricky or confusing, and we learn best by hearing a story about it. So that's what a parable is. So these are 2 parables that we're going to talk about today. So go ahead and turn in your packet. You have these stories printed. I'm not going to be able to, I don't think I can read it if I hold it up there. But I have the storybook. I'm going to read these out loud, and then we're going to discuss them. So the first parable we're going to talk about is the lost sheep. So go ahead and follow along in your packet while I read these out loud. Okay. When Jesus preached about God, all sorts of different people came to listen, even robbers and thieves. But many of the religious leaders were furious when they saw Jesus talking to people who broke the law. How can he be a man of God if he is willing to talk to people like that? They sneered. Let me explain, said Jesus when he heard them. This is when he's going to tell the story to help explain it to them. Imagine that you are a shepherd with 100 sheep. Now imagine that one of your sheep is missing. What would you do? Would you just go to bed and not worry? Of course not. You would go and look for that missing sheep and search behind every rock and bush until you found it. Then you would carry it home on your shoulders and celebrate with your neighbors. These robbers and thieves are like that missing sheep. They have lost their way. But I am a good shepherd. I will not forget about them. I will seek them out and tell them about God's love to bring them safely back to him. Okay, now we have our second parable that comes right after it, the lost coin. Jesus wanted the people to know just how important each and every one of them was to God. Listen to this story, he told them. There was once a woman who had just 10 silver coins. One day, when she was counting them, a coin fell off the table and disappeared. Determined to find it, the woman lit her lamp and swept the house, searching in all of the corners. Finally, she spotted a glint of metal under a chair. She had found it. Overjoyed, the woman called to her friends. I have found the coin that was lost, she cried excitedly. Let's celebrate. And that's just what God does when a person who has forgotten about him turns back to him again, explained Jesus. He celebrates with all the angels in heaven. Okay, so these are like two of my favorite stories in the Bible because they remind us of some really important things that are really, really important and great to remember, reassuring. So let's look back at that first story, the lost sheep. So when Jesus was teaching on earth, he spent time with people who did not always do what was right. We talked about that at the beginning. The robbers, thieves, sinners, basically people who didn't know God. And he taught them what they needed to do for God to be happy with them, right? And he used, like we said, those parables to do that. And that's that they need God, right? They need to follow Jesus. So the Jews who already followed God, they were called Pharisees. And they were kind of unhappy that Jesus spent so much time with these sinners, right? They thought, hey, we're the good Christians, Jesus. You should be spending time with us, not with those sinners over there. And Jesus, he knew that they were unhappy, right? And he answered their disapproval with these parables. These parables describe how much God cares for the sinner, right? And how much he wants them back. So looking at that first story, who do you think that the shepherd represents? Yes, Jesus, that's right. And what about the 99 sheep? Who do you think they represent? They are the people who know God, right? They're the ones who already know God. And what about that lost sheep, that one lost sheep that wandered off? They represent the people who strayed, right? The people who, like us before, or maybe us right now, who are trying to do it all on their own, right? But does it work out for that sheep? Does it work out for someone in this world when they try to do it on their own without God? No, right? We need God. And he wants us, right? He wants to care for us. So just like that shepherd takes care of those sheep, right? All those 99, he loves them, he cares for them, he tends them, he makes sure that their needs are met, right? He wants to do that for that lost sheep too. So he's going to search for it, right? He loves us so much that he searches and pursues us, right? Like our special thing, right? Like our special thing, he's not giving up looking for us, right? Just like I never gave up. If I had to have this to go to bed, Jesus is going to pursue us, right? He's not going to give up looking for us and to bring us back to him. The second story has the same message. So let's think, if God is telling us the same thing in two stories in a row, it must be pretty important, right? So make sure we listen up. It's important. We are like the lost coin in that story, right? We have wandered, we have strayed, we've gone off. But God doesn't leave us, right? Does the lady in the lost coin, does she say, oh, well, there goes one of my coins. I have 9 left. 9 out of 10 is not bad. Is that what she does? No, right? She looks for it. She sweeps the whole house. She moves the furniture. She is going to find that coin. It is so special to her, right? She only has 10. She is going to look and look and look until she finds it, right? And just like that, God never leaves us to just go off or be lost. He's not content to just say, oh, that's just one person. They can go off. No, he is actively looking for us. He is pursuing us. He is bringing us and drawing us to him. And then the best part of the whole thing is what happens, right? So what happens in the both of these parables when the lost thing is found? Do you remember what happens when it's found? Let's see. So in this one, you search behind every rock and bush until you find it. Then you would carry it home on your shoulders and celebrate with your neighbors. And then in the second story, she had found it. Overjoyed, the woman called to her friends. I have found the coin that was lost, she cried excitedly. Let's celebrate, right? So God celebrates. And this last part sums it up well. And that's just what God does when a person who has forgotten about him turns back to him again, explained to Jesus. He celebrates with all the angels in heaven. So he celebrates. He is so excited when his lost children come back. So we don't have to be scared or worried that we can't come back to God because we've done too many bad things, right? We don't have to worry about that because God forgives us and he celebrates when we come back, right? He even celebrates with the angels in heaven. Isn't that awesome? Just try to picture that. The angels in heaven, all of them celebrating because someone turned back. Okay? If you know God, then when you came to know God, the angels celebrated for you. And if you don't know God yet, they will celebrate if you turn to God. That's just so amazing. So does that mean that we can just go off and do whatever we want in life? No, right? No. We should do our best to follow God and be like Jesus, right? But we aren't Jesus, and so we will make mistakes. But it's okay, right? Because he loves us and he forgives us. And he shows us that love because he pursues us. He searches for us. He doesn't let us wander away without coming back and looking for us, right? He doesn't let us get lost under the furniture. He searches until he finds us. That's how much he loves us because we are his special treasure. Isn't that so amazing? I just love the comfort that these stories bring. It's just so nice to be reassured about God's love for us. Okay, so now I'm going to take a minute and go over how to complete these activities that go with today's lesson. And my daughter started some of these, so some of them have been completed, but let's look through them real quick. So up here, it says draw a sad face or happy face to complete the story. All right, sad face, happy face. So let's read the first sentence. One day, when a shepherd found out that one of his sheep was missing, he was and you can see, he was sad according to the story. So we made that a little sad face. So go through and read this whole story and fill in all the different happy or sad faces that you see there. And then down here, it says, find out who the good shepherd is by following the dots of the letters with your pencil. So you can see that we started right here. We're just going to trace along and keep going until we find out who the good shepherd is. Let's see. Up here, this one's kind of tricky. It says, follow the lines to the letters, then write the letters in the spaces to complete the word. So this is a Bible verse, Psalm 86:7. And it says, in the day of my blank, I will call to you, for you will answer me. So we're trying to figure out what letters go here. So this first blank, we're going to start with this line right above it, and we're going to trace it until we come to a letter. And I'm going to use this highlighter so we can see. So we're going to trace along. Trace along the line. And what letter did we come to? My highlighter's not working. The letter T, right? So we made it to T, so we're going to write a T in the first blank. And then we're going to use this next line to find the next one, and so on until we get all the letters for that word. And then the last activity on this, it says, write in the first letter of each word using the code given under the word. It's kind of like Morse code. So we go down here, right? SOS would be these signals. So let's look at this first one. We have blank UR, and underneath it we have 3 dashes. So we have to look back up here and find 3 dashes to see what letter we're going to put in the blank. So let's look. Can you see the one that has 3 dashes in it? Oh, there it is right there. 3 dashes. So the letter O goes in that first blank. Okay, and that's how you're going to fill in all the blanks using the code underneath it. And then the other two sheets are just coloring sheets. So I hope you guys have fun completing these activities. Talk to you guys soon. Bye. Okay, so I know I'm talking a long time and I could talk for even longer. Miss Denise knows that I can just talk and talk and talk. But I'm going to wrap it up now. And before we go, I'm just going to ask you 3 questions. And I'm going to ask them right now, and I want you to think about them, and then I'm going to post them below the video in the comments, and I want you to come and answer them. So I want to see how many different answers we can get. I want to see how many people are paying attention and listening. You can go back and listen again if you need to, but they're not that hard. Okay, so number 1, what is a parable? Remember, what is a parable? Okay, question number 2, who does the shepherd represent in the first story? You remember? Number 3, how does God react when a sinner repents and comes back to him? Yeah. And then the last thing, it's not a question, it's just a request, because I shared my very special thing with you and I want to see your very special things. Right? So if you have something that's special to you, either when you were little or now, I want you to tell me about it in the comments. It may not be a threadbare blanket, but I want to see things that are special to you, because just like those things are special to you, we are so special to God, and we are so much more special than any actual thing could be. So when you see your special thing, I want you to remember, this is special to me. I'm way more special to God, right? So like I said, I'm so sad I can't be there, but I hope that y'all learned a little bit today. I was so excited to make this video for you, and I can't wait to see your comments. You better comment. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I love you and I miss you, and I look forward to when we can see each other in person again. Bye.